Like many other Montgomery County ratepayers, I lost my power for 6 days following the derecho. We threw out over $1,000 worth of food. My home reached internal temperatures of 85 to 90 degrees, and my kids were not able to attend the summer camps they were enrolled in. My neighborhood pool was shut down. We spent considerable family time with my in-laws, who live in a retirement facility in Silver Spring and had power, and we ate out a lot. Live power lines remained down in my neighborhood for 6 days, closing off streets and making driving extremely tricky, especially in the evening. Trucks from Georgia and Florida finally arrived after 6 long days and repaired the lines within a few hours. Clearly, this was a strong storm. Trees and telephone poles in my neighborhood were snapped in half, and whole trees were uprooted and fell down on power, telephone, and cable lines. But we were still lucky. We are young, healthy, and we could easily pile into a car and drive off to a local Barnes & Noble where they had power, or go to another county to watch a movie and cool off for part of the afternoon. While sitting at that Barnes & Noble, I started to wonder about the storm, power outages, and consequences. I wondered about days I lost power when it just rained, or on sunny days when there seemed to be no weather-related reason for losing my power. Using my iPhone, I was able to learn about elected leaders who were proactive on the issue of power in our community. Council President Roger Berliner's name kept coming up, and I decided to give his office a call. I organized a few of my neighbors who were just as frustrated as I was with our power outage issues, and we spoke with him and other council member staff for about an hour. We also learned about you, Chairman Nazarian, and the Public Service Commission, something I had really not known about a month ago. We learned the sole purpose of the PSC is to regulate public utilities conducting business in Maryland. Your job is to set utility rates and address rate adjustments. You can enforce new rules and regulations. The problem, when it comes to PEPCO, is that you have failed to do your job year after year after year. As the PSC, the only regulatory body in our state that can actually affect PEPCO's performance, you have failed to establish tough standards and use your authority to make PEPCO accountable for its level of service to the community. Instead of fining PEPCO for below acceptable levels of service, you have rewarded them year after year after year for failing to maintain the power infrastructures in our communities that are to serve us. PEPCO's internal system failures are consistently rewarded with rate increases from the PSC and some of the highest payouts in the industry to PEPCO's shareholders. There have been repeated warnings based on independent consultant reports that include PEPCO's own data regarding inadequacy of service from a technical standpoint, as well as a management and consumer relations standpoint. Critical warnings from these reports have been downplayed, excused, and ignored. Yet, the PSC has consistently financially rewarded PEPCO, neglected to impose fines, and consistently allowed shareholders to be highly rewarded for their investments. PEPCO is essentially a monopoly, and the only regulatory body that stands between it and its ratepayers is the Public Service Commission. By neglecting your role as chairman of the PSC, you have enabled PEPCO to wreak havoc in our lives. In prepared testimony at the County Council hearing on July 19th, PEPCO's President Tom Graham repeated not once, but twice, that PEPCO felt it was not reasonable for a person to be upset at all after 7 days without lights or air conditioning. Everybody in the room was quite amazed at the statement. He did eventually try to correct himself. How about 7 days without oxygen, a feeding tube, or a ventilator? In response to all of this, PowerUpMontco@gmail was formed. I formed it, and I have included my neighbors, friends, community leaders, and others as a way to organize our community with one voice to reach out to you and to reach out to the governor. Power Up Montco has citizen activists, PhD electrical engineers, attorneys, physicians, accountants, and other highly involved residents ready to address the changes that must occur if we are going to have reliable and consistent power in Montgomery County. Many of them are here speaking tonight. The ones who could not make it are sending written testimony to the PSC. I hope you have a chance to review it. We currently have thousands of frustrated and angry Montgomery County residents who have expressed their outrage with PEPCO's performance to you, the PSC, and our elected representatives over and over again. Yet, there has been no improvement in our power delivery system, and in fact, the situation has deteriorated. Let us hope that you have finally heard us and are willing to take the responsibility for the mess that is PEPCO. If not, we are watching, we are listening, we are organizing, and we are definitely voting. We will not stop until we get reliable and consistent power delivered to us. Thank you very much.